Imagine a civilization so fierce that even the mighty Roman Empire, at the height of its power, couldn't conquer them. They were known to the Romans as the Picti, which meant painted people because of their elaborate body tattoos and war paint. For centuries, the Picts were a complete mystery, a shadowy civilization shrouded in myth and legend. They left behind no written history of their own, only a scattering of enigmatic symbols carved into standing stones across the wild, rugged landscapes of Scotland. These carvings hinted at a people who were both powerful and deeply puzzling. Historians and archaeologists have long debated their origins, their society, and their ultimate fate. Were they indigenous people, or were they mysterious foreigners who arrived from distant lands? Why did they seem to vanish from history? For over 1,000 years, the Picts were an unsolved enigma, but a new era of scientific discovery is finally pulling back the curtain on their secrets. Thanks to cutting-edge DNA analysis, we're now able to challenge long-held assumptions and, for the first time, truly understand who the Picts were and what they left behind. While much of Europe was in chaos following the fall of the Roman Empire, a powerful and sophisticated kingdom was thriving in the Scottish Highlands and Eastern Lowlands. These were the Picts, and they were absolutely formidable. The Roman name for them, Picti, which meant painted people, came from their elaborate body tattoos and war paint. Roman sources often describe them wearing minimal clothing, their bodies covered head to toe in intricate colored drawings of animals so beautiful that the Romans believed they avoided clothes specifically to display this stunning body art. But what truly made them legendary was their ability to fight off the Roman Empire at its height, a feat that seemed impossible at the time. This was not mere luck, but a testament to their military genius. When the Romans first encountered the Picts in battle, they expected an easy victory. The Picts, however, would appear to retreat almost immediately, luring the Romans into what seemed like an easy win. But this was a brilliant and elaborate trap. While the Roman legions were setting up camp, the Picts would return, pouring out of the woods like ghosts, catching the Romans completely unaware and massacring them. Time and again, they used these tactics of psychological warfare and deception, refusing to fight on Rome's terms. They understood that Rome's strength lay in disciplined formations and heavy armor, so they instead used their mobility, intimate knowledge of the rugged Scottish landscape, and cunning to outsmart their mighty foes. Their greatest triumph came on May 20th, 685 AD, at the Battle of Nectansmere. They lured a massive Northumbrian army into one of the most brilliant military traps in medieval history, drawing their cavalry away from infantry support into a carefully chosen battlefield of hills and marshland. The trap was sprung, and the Northumbrian king, along with most of his army, was annihilated, ending Northumbrian dominance forever and creating the conditions that would eventually lead to the formation of Scotland itself. This victory solidified their fearsome reputation, but the greatest mystery wasn't what they were capable of in battle, but what they were building when the swords were sheathed. To truly understand the Picts, we must move beyond the popular image of painted, savage tribesmen and look at the stunning archaeological evidence that has been unearthed in recent years. This new evidence completely shatters the notion of the Picts as a primitive, isolated people. For a long time, archaeologists assumed that large-scale settlements didn't exist in Scotland until much later, but recent discoveries have proven this spectacularly wrong. At Tap O Noth in Aberdeenshire, drone surveys and laser technology have revealed what were essentially ancient cities. Evidence suggests that up to 4,000 people may have lived in over 800 huts on a single hilltop, a settlement on a scale that rivals the largest post-Roman cities in Europe. The site was enclosed by massive stone walls, some showing signs of vitrification, a process where extreme heat actually melted and fused the stones together, likely a result of sophisticated timber-laced wall construction. This suggests not just a large settlement, but one with complex defensive capabilities. Further excavations at sites like Bughead have revealed another massive Pictish naval base with sophisticated triple rampart defenses. This was more than just a fort. It was a complex military and administrative center that controlled shipping throughout the Moray Firth, highlighting the Picts' mastery of the seas. These weren't primitive settlements. they were thriving hubs of a sophisticated society. For instance, at elite sites like Rhynie, archaeologists have found evidence that some Picts were drinking Mediterranean wine from French glass beakers 1,500 years ago, alongside fine silver jewelry and evidence of international trade networks. This demonstrates that their society was not only complex and hierarchical, but also deeply connected to the wider European world, far from the isolated barbarians of Roman lore. They had advanced agricultural technology and were skilled seafarers, with fleets large enough that historical accounts mention up to 150 ships being lost in a single storm. The Picts were a people of cities, trade, and intricate social structures, a civilization far more advanced than their historical reputation suggests. Even more intriguing than their military victories, the Picts left behind hundreds of mysterious carved stones scattered across Scotland. These aren't random doodles. The symbols are specific and consistent, featuring intricate carvings of mysterious beasts, crescents, mirrors, combs, and geometric patterns that repeat across hundreds of stones. Because these symbols repeat with such precision, scholars now believe they represent a codified writing system, possibly for personal names, essentially serving as ancient family crests that tell us about Pictish clans and lineages from over 1,500 years ago. The stones fall into three distinct categories that tell the story of the Picts' cultural evolution. The oldest, Class 1 stones, date from the 5th to 7th centuries and feature symbols carved directly into natural boulders. The Class 2 stones mark a significant cultural shift, as they feature both Pictish symbols and Christian crosses, a testament to the spread of Christianity throughout their territory. Finally, Class 3 stones are purely Christian monuments, marking the complete transformation of Pictish society as they fully embraced the new faith. These stones are our most direct window into the minds of the Picts, hinting at a society that was not only organized and sophisticated, but also one that experienced profound cultural change over centuries. They are a silent, yet powerful, testament to a complex people who sought to leave a lasting record of their existence in a way that continues to puzzle and fascinate us today. For centuries, historians and chroniclers spun wild and often fantastical tales about the origins of the Picts. The English scholar Bede, for example, claimed they migrated from Scythia and near the Black Sea, while other romantic theories suggested they were mysterious foreigners who appeared from nowhere. But in 2023, a groundbreaking study led by researchers at the University of Aberdeen and published in the journal PLOS Genetics finally provided the scientific evidence needed to settle this long-standing debate. Using cutting-edge ancient DNA analysis, they examined human remains from Pictish burials at sites like London Links and Ballantor in Scotland. The results were not what anyone expected and, in fact, completely overturned these old assumptions. The genetic evidence showed that the Picts were not exotic immigrants or mysterious invaders at all. Instead, they were the indigenous people of Scotland, local Iron Age communities with deep roots in the British Isles. Even more remarkably, the study revealed that individuals from Western Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Northumbria show the highest genetic similarity to these ancient Pictish genomes. This means that if you're from these regions, you may literally be looking at your own ancestors when you see those mysterious carved stones. The DNA analysis also provided new insights into another historical debate. The old claim that Pictish society was matrilineal, with inheritance passed through the female line. While some historical king lists have suggested this, the genetic evidence from the London Links cemetery showed no direct common female ancestors among the buried individuals, suggesting a more complex social structure than a simple matrilineal system. In essence, the DNA didn't just solve a mystery, it rewrote the history of the Picts, proving they were a sophisticated, homegrown civilization whose genetic legacy is still alive today. For generations, the prevailing historical narrative was that the Picts simply vanished from the face of the earth, leaving behind their mysterious stones, but no living descendants. This idea of a disappearing people fueled the romantic notion of them as a forgotten, exotic race. However, the true story is far more fascinating and complex. The Picts didn't disappear, they evolved. By the 9th century, Major political changes were reshaping the map of Scotland. Around 843 AD, Kenneth MacAlpin, a powerful figure with claims to both the Pictish and Scottish Gaelic thrones, rose to become the king of a new, united realm. This wasn't a traditional conquest where one group wiped out the other. Instead, it appears to have been a political marriage of two kingdoms that had been intermarrying and sharing cultural practices for centuries. Over the next 100 years, this unified kingdom gradually became known as Alba, and eventually, the name Scotland took hold. The Pictish language slowly gave way to Gaelic, and many Pictish customs and traditions were absorbed into the broader Scottish identity that was emerging. The Picts didn't leave, they became the architects of a new nation. Their culture was woven into the fabric of what would become medieval Scotland, and their people merged with their Gaelic neighbors to form a single, unified identity. The Picts didn't just disappear, they became the architects of modern Scotland. The romanticized idea of a lost, vanished people has been completely replaced by a far more powerful and scientifically grounded truth. The DNA evidence reveals a remarkable continuity from the Pictish period to present-day populations in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. These weren't mysterious people who simply vanished. They evolved and merged, becoming the ancestors of millions of people alive today. The Pictish legacy is not just confined to the stones they left behind, but is woven into the very genetic fabric of a nation. Recent discoveries continue to reshape our understanding of this civilization, with archaeologists in 2024 alone finding rare Pictish symbol stones and what might be an early royal Pictish landscape. Each new discovery adds another piece to the puzzle of this incredible civilization. Thanks to the latest DNA evidence, we've finally solved one of archaeology's greatest mysteries. The Picts were not exotic foreigners or savage barbarians, but a sophisticated, indigenous people who built cities, resisted empires, created magnificent art, and whose genetic legacy endures in millions of people today. When you visit Scotland and see those incredible carved stones standing in the Highland valleys, you're not just looking at ancient monuments. You're witnessing the legacy of a remarkable civilization that helped shape European history.